Councilmember David White, Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert Enriquez, Councilmember Johnny Garcia. We're also joined by our legal counsel, Mr. Aaron Vela, and our city manager, Mr. Ron Garza, as well as our EDC employee, Mr. Mike Valderas. I think I got everybody. The time now is 4:01 p.m., Thursday, April 9th. Aaron, was the meeting posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, it was, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Do we have any public comments, Mike?
No, sir. No public comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and go right to it. Right into number 4. We have consideration and possible action on appointment of an interim executive director. Can I entertain a motion on that? Just some background real quick. Richard Hinojosa was our interim director. That was at no cost. It was just pulling double duty since he was the interim city manager at the time. He's no longer with the city. We do have Mr. Ron Garza as the city manager. So that's just real quick. That's why the position is open. Can I entertain?
I make a motion to appoint Ron Garza as the interim executive director.
I'll second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's going to make it easy so we can see everybody instead of wondering who said anything. We do have a 5-0 vote. Anybody against that, raise your right hand. Same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Mr. Ron Garza, you will now be carrying double duties as our interim EDC director. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Number 5. Put this in front of me. Discuss and consider of adding the interim executive director and designee to the signature card for all and any EDC accounts, including but not too limited to Plains Capital Bank, Texas National Bank, Lone Star Bank, and Greater State Bank, along with the removing of former signature card holders as needed. This is just going to give Ron the authority to endorse all the checks and business that we do. Can I entertain a motion on that item?
Motion to approve. Second.
We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by
Hold on. I have a question. So right now, who's the one that has been signing the checks?
Currently,
Mr. Hinojosa has.
Nobody, sir. The last check was signed were by Mr. Hinojosa.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, discussion?
I do. Just to confirm, Michael, so no financial transactions have happened since in between the time that Mr. Hinojosa has left?
We don't have any checks that have been written. The only ones that can write the check is the director. So since he's left, we haven't been able to, we don't write any check.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
This is Arnold. Can you see me?
Yes, Arnold. We see you. We hear you too.
I didn't know if you were not supposed to see me.
No, that's okay. We'll go ahead and take a vote on that item. All those in favor of endorsing Mr. Garza to conduct our business as the check signee, go ahead and raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Number 6, presentation updates and possible action on El Tule project.
I believe we have on the line for Milnet Architectural Services, Ramon Villalobos and Rudy Molina. If any of those are present, would they like to?
Yes.
And
Ramon Villalobos.
Councilman Salinas.
Yes, sir.
Salinas, would you like to establish a designated time frame or time limit to this presentation?
Usually we don't. We just kind of let them update us all the way through. With the new members on the board, I'd like to go ahead and give him his time, whatever he needs to just kind of catch us up. I don't want to limit him. Is anybody in a hurry? Is anybody on a time crunch from our members of the board?
We're good. No, sir.
Okay. No, let's go ahead and give him the time that he needs.
Okay. Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
Okay. This is Ramon Villalobos here with myself. Is also Rudy Molina. And we sent you just a brief update. It has a small agenda that we can quickly go through. Just real quick, as far as the progress of the drawings, we're in construction document. At this point, we are near completion. We're at approximately 95% complete as far as the CDs. Also within your packet is some correspondence that was sent from the geotech engineer as far as the soil borings. If the board recalls, we did have to shift the building approximately 100 feet to the south. We had to clear an existing clay line. So doing that change, well, we asked the geotech engineer if that was going to affect his recommendations for the building pad and the parking lot. As you can see in the correspondence, he's proposing to do 2 additional borings just so we can have more data. Specifically since when they first did the borings, there was a lot of debris from the previous contractor. And now they want to go in again. They want to go in there and do 2 additional borings. Now that the contractor, it's our understanding that they've started to somewhat clear the existing site. So that's their recommendation. They want to do 2 additional borings.
So, Raymond, let me ask you a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So, is all the disciplines under you, or you only have the structural and MEP?
Under our contract, yes, we only have structural and MEP.
So the civils is independently through the city, and have you guys been coordinating everything in regards to the infrastructure, to the building, any exterior improvements that need to be made? Or are they correlating with your architectural site plans and his civil drawings?
Yes, correct. Even though they're consultants hired by the city directly, we have been in coordination with them.
Okay, so we have everything that you have everything that the civil engineer has completed. You have it as part of your contract documents, correct?
Yes, we have the same information and the same backgrounds because we've been sharing backgrounds and we've been coordinating as certain items arise.
Okay, so the moving of the building and the parking lot and all that, they have all that as well.
Yes, they have updated plans as well. Yes, correct.
Okay, because what I just don't want happening is that during construction it comes back that says, hey, well, the site plan on the architectural and the civil drawings don't match, so therefore we're going to need a change order because we didn't include it, or so on and so forth. I just want to eliminate that possibility. So if you and the civil can just get together one more time before the 100% CDs are completed, that would make me feel a lot better.
Gilbert, I'll answer that one. We also have to go before the city with the full CDs so they can do a final review before we go out for bids. And what they'll do is if everything's fine, they'll give us a letter. So once a contractor gets on board, then he can use that letter to expedite getting the permit. But so there is going to be one more city review. They did have comments on the initial review to the civil simply because of that. The backgrounds weren't up to date, but since then, all that's been updated and it's up to date. So we're thinking next week we should be trying to schedule with the city to do that final review, depending on how their schedule is with the virus.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Questions, discussion? Okay, Mr. Villalobos, Mr. Molina, thank you for your time, gentlemen. We appreciate the quick update.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to number 7, presentation and update possible act. There was no action on that last item, right, Ron?
Possible action, but it didn't seem like there was any recommended action.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, presentation updates and possible action on the North Park project.
So I believe we have SDI Engineering. Mr. Posadas, are you on the phone?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, go ahead and proceed, please.
Okay, good afternoon. This is Isael Posadas with SDI Engineering. What you have, I believe you guys have a short summary of the project in your packet. In that summary, we include Synergy as our general contractor, and then we've got various other contracts that we're managing through the direct purchase process for project totals. That's why you'll see 3 different columns: Synergy, direct purchases, and project totals, for those of you that may not have been updated previously. To date, on the financing side, we've paid out approximately 66%, which is out of the $1.4 million, $887,000. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we're approximately paid out about 66%, although the project progress, if you look at the pictures, we're more like 85% on progress. But their billing hasn't caught up to what they've done out in the field. As far as the items, if you'll notice, there's a little summary after the funding portion of it. Or before that, I should tell you, we expect completion approximately July 21st, 2020, although their contract lets them go into August. I don't recall exactly the date, but it's in August, mid-August, I believe. As far as the direct purchase items, just so you know, some of the items recently received are all the benches, tables, barbecue pits, the trash cans. All the items that we were expecting are already in. Thankfully, we got those before the crisis, where we would have had some delays. Currently under construction or about to begin is the splash park. That was part of an addition to the project where after we had awarded the project to Synergy, in previous presentations, I believe November 26th, we added the splash park, so we proceeded on that project. That's set to begin this week. If you'll notice from your pictures, picture number 1, 2, 3, second to last picture, you'll see the splash pad building, which was part of the contract, and not with the splash pad people, but with Synergy. And what was going to happen back then was splash pad people would come in and install directly into that building all of their equipment. You'll notice there's a block out from that picture where all the piping comes in. All of that coordination is taking place between our contractor and the splash pad people. So we hope to start seeing some movement on that as early as today and next week on the pad itself.
Mr. Posadas.
Yes,
Councilman Salinas, a quick question. That completion date of July 21st, that includes the splash pad?
No, this is just the Synergy contract. The splash pad people, right now, we're hoping that by August we finish their work. But because of the delays, we haven't felt the full effect of the delays or we haven't been told which items, if any, may be delayed. We had originally anticipated by the end of August being complete with that, or the vast majority. But right now we're waiting to hear back to see if there's anything that, as far as equipment or materials, that may have to be delayed. When we find out, we'll update the board or the staff as soon as we know. But at this point, end of August is where we expect it to be.
Okay, thank you.
Is Synergy's contract still under their substantial completion date?
The Synergy contract completion date is in August, mid-August, I believe.
So they're ahead of schedule?
Yes, sir. We didn't add any days to the, remember when we converted from the softball field to the dog park, they were well ahead of schedule. We converted it to that, and we're still ahead of schedule, even with that.
It's less work, though, right? Because they didn't have to do the baseball field.
Correct. If you recall, we had a change order number 1 that reduced the contract by $81,000.
Right. But what I'm saying is a baseball field's a lot more involved than a dog
Yes, sir.
park.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So I have one question that has been eluding me, and I've been trying to find out. What was the budget amount for this total park? For the entire
The
park?
original,
No.
the original, okay, sorry.
When they finally approved the construction documents for you to go out for bid, what was the budgeted amount that you provided the board for that project, for those construction documents? What was the budgeted amount?
I believe the entire amount, the number that we've always known was told to us of $1.8 million.
1 point what?
1.8. 1.8.
Is that
Yes, sir.
is that including design fees, testing, everything, or was that just construction?
That was everything. I believe that was everything. That's what we've been working off of.
So that's everything.
That's what the original budget, everything we've ever worked on, we've always tried to work with that goal in mind right there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. The only item right now that's probably a long lead item is going to be the bronze plaque, which is we provided the preliminary design for the EDC and the city to review. So, I mean, but that's a minor item. It's just getting the names and getting that final approval. We do believe we'll have the park done before the plaque is in, but hopefully by then it will have been ordered. At this point, we are, if you look at the pictures at the aerial photograph, you'll note the items that are in. I mean, we're very happy with the work. There hadn't been any major hiccups. You'll notice one of the big coordination things that we did have to do was with the irrigation district and the gas company, having to do with the sidewalk installation along the frontage. But that did get taken care of, and again, that didn't delay us as much as I thought we'd be delayed, which is what I informed the board in previous presentations. So we were able to get past that. They're not going to hydromulch, so they're not going to do any of the final hydromulching until, of course, all the stuff is done, and we no longer have to be out there and on the site. So that'll be the last one of the last items. Hopefully, beginning of July, we'll get all the work done around the areas, the final grading, which, by the way, currently I think the grading is probably 95% done. They'll have to do some cleanup because of some of the rains, and as you'll notice from the pictures, truck traffic, but nothing major. So again, we are ahead of schedule, and we don't anticipate that changing. That's all I have.
Any questions, gentlemen, for Mr. Posadas? Okay, Mr. Posadas, thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate the update. Continue the work.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir. Okay, gentlemen, we'll go on to the next item. There was no action on that either. We have number 8, presentation of monthly financial reports by Mr. Chris Virial, our CPA.
Hello, everyone. I believe everyone has a report in front of them. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We hear you.
So the report that you should have in front of you is for the period ended February 29, 2020. And we have our primary report, and then we have a supplementary report in the packet. So the primary report is a statement of cash receipts, disbursements, and cash balances for the unrestricted cash account. So basically, we're going to have an overview of what goes in the operating account and what goes out. Receipts and disbursement. So within the primary report, it's divided by month for the fiscal year ending 2020. And you should see like numbers in October, November, December, January, and February. And, the first line is going to be the half-cent sales tax revenue. One thing I want to point out there is that in February, we collected $673,000. That's probably a number that I haven't seen in quite some time since I've been working on these financials. So that's a great improvement there. Now, we don't know what March is going to come to like, so because of all the COVID-19, so we'll see what happens there. But, February was pretty good. If you go to the very far right, you'll see year-to-date actual. If we could just talk about year-to-date actual, that'd be great since I haven't been here for the other months. So you'll see that total cash receipts for year-to-date are $2,869,138, and we have an annual budget of $7,496,000. So we are 38% to budget. And then the next section is cash disbursements, money that we spent. The first category is going to be personnel expenses.
Excuse me, Chris.
Yes.
Chris, may I interrupt?
Yes.
Okay, explain to me what that 1.5, where it says transfer in for construction costs. What is that 1.5 budgeted for?
That's money coming in from I believe from Techstar to replenish some of the monies that we've been using on the capital projects. And that was budgeted in there when Nelda was there back in August 2019.
Okay, so it shows that there hasn't been anything received since.
No. Michael and I don't have the authority to transfer monies to replenish.
Okay. So then my question is, then how has the contractor on our project that we have, the north part, how's he being paid?
How's he been paid? Out of operating accounts? So the monies are still sitting there and playing in the Techstar accounts.
So then we're not replenishing, we're not transferring it over to
not as of yet.
So we're going to do that at the end of the year or what?
Yes, or whenever we have a decision to how much we wanted to do it, and when Ron Garza has access to make the transfer.
Okay, so we're still dispersing funds, but we're just not being reimbursed for those funds.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then also I want to point out too is that we're also taking account of the interest that is earned from the Red State Bank and from the Techstar Bank. So you'll see that we've been earning so far for the year $99,000. On average, about $19,000 a month. So, and then interest earned in reserves, you'll see that we back it out because that's a reserved account, and this statement here is about the unrestricted account, the operating and the sweep account. That's in Plains Capital. Okay. Any questions about the interest?
Where was that, Mr. Vidal?
On the cash receipts section, you'll see that we've earned so far year to date $99,000 in interest. Most of that is earned in the Techstar account. We have about $3,000 that is earned in the sweep account, which is unrestricted. A month. I'm talking about $3,000 a month that's earned in the sweep account, which is unrestricted. So of the $19,000 on average that we earn, $3,000 is unrestricted and $16,000 is restricted. Okay. Any questions about the interest? And also year to date, we've collected $47,000 in lease payment. So that kind of gives you a nutshell of what we've earned so far on cash receipt. On the next section, cash disbursements, our first category is personnel expenses. We finally invoiced and we've paid $120,000 so far in salaries, benefits, and taxes. I believe we're going to have another payment in March to kind of catch up with that. The next section is going to be operating expense, which is basically going to be overhead. You'll see like board expenses, communications, telephone, membership dues, and copy expense. That's in a nutshell what overhead is. So far we spent $37,957 in overhead expenses year to date, and we have a budget of $148,000. The next section is going to be maintenance expense. So far we spent year to date $11,761, and our budget's $26,000. So we're about 44% to budget. The next page is going to be marketing expense. So far we spent year to date $136,000, and we have a budget of $400,000. Okay. Next page is going to be contractual services. It can be accounting, legal, feasibility. So far we spent $218,000, and we have a budget of $740,000. The next section is going to be developmental expenditures. So far we spent $259,000, and we have a budget of $1.8 million. And then the next section is going to be capital outlay. We have the North Park project, the El Tule, the Resource Center. We spent $1,075,000, and we have a budget of 1.5. And that's the budget's 1.5 for this fiscal year. I'm sure it'll overlap into the other fiscal years as well as far as the project. The third page is going to be, the first section is going to be our debt service, so far what we spent, and property taxes. So we spent $98,911 in property taxes, and we only budgeted $80,000. So that'll probably be revised later. Just one moment, my computer just, okay, here we go. And debt service. In January, we made our first payment to the 2019 bond. We overpaid, and we got reimbursed $33,000 in February. And then also in February, we spent principal and interest on the Ebony bond and the Parks and Rec bond, and also the Santana bond, and also the Arena bond shortage. So overall, year to date, we spent $2 million, roughly $2 million in debt service, and we have a budget of $3 million. So in August, a lot of that's just going to be interest only. Okay, in August. So far, for year to date, we have a net decrease in cash of $1,180,000, and that could be explained that we haven't received any transfers from the reserve accounts for the capital projects. So we started out with about $4 million in cash in the unrestricted account, $4.6 million, and right now, as of February 29th, we have $3,467,956 in the unrestricted account. That consists of both the operating account and the sweep account. On the very bottom section, I have a breakdown of all the cash accounts. You'll see that we have the Plains Capital operating and sweep account, the debt service account, the 2019 bond account, the Greater State Bank, and the Techstar account. So you'll see in the Techstar accounts, we have about over $10 million in the Techstar accounts that are earning that interest. We're also earning interest in the Greater State Bank account as well, which has about $1.4 million. So this right here is a statement of cash receipts and disbursements. Any questions about this report?
Sorry. This is here in Golden. What are the interest rates on those two restricted bonds?
I want to say 2%, but I can double check and I can give you that. I can email that to Michael and he can forward that to you. But it's going to fluctuate. I can give you last month's.
Fair enough.
Okay, I have some question, Chris, on the going back to the personnel expenses.
Yes.
That 119.
Yes.
I would like to see it on our next financials that we allocated to each month instead of one total in February. I'd like to see it allocated to each individual month. Is there a reason why it was only?
Because this is a cash basis statement. So it's going to reflect not the accrual.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Because this is based on cash flow. It's a cash basis statement. If we had done this in the accrual basis, we would have probably seen that.
So they reimbursed the city
Yes.
This past month or what?
Yes. All of it in this one little nugget.
They don't reimburse per month?
It hasn't been that way in the last few months. Hey, Michael, do you have can you explain a reason?
Yeah, we, in the beginning, after Nelda left, since then, and the changing of the checking system, we weren't receiving monthly invoices for it. So then I went back, and as we're going through paperwork with Chris, he brought up payroll. So we got with finance, we said we need to get all our and catch up. So they gave us our statements, we caught up, and now we're on a month-to-month, the way it's supposed to be, the way Councilman Enriquez is asking us to do it. So from here on in, it will be on a month-to-month that it should show.
Okay, thank you. So my next question has to do with the capital outlay here. So we have here that 905 for the North Park. So I'm assuming those are the check disbursements to the contractor.
That's correct.
Okay, so I see that the annual budget, that it was only budgeted for 500. Who decided on these budget amounts? Like who made these budget amounts to where they were? Because that's a big difference. I mean,
that was approved back in August of 2019.
Right, but the project has been going on since when has the project started? When did the project start, Mike? Do you know?
It's been going on for probably before that, if not right around that time. It's been going on for quite a while. The North Park project?
That's correct.
I feel better looking it up, but it has been going on quite a while.
So my point is that it would have been completed within this fiscal period. So that's why I don't know why they wouldn't have the whole amount of the contract budgeted for that period, for that whole year. You see what I'm saying? Let's say the project started in October, and it was a 9-month project. Well, it's within our fiscal year, so you would think you would budget the whole amount of the project, the contract amount, so there wouldn't be an overage on the budget. You see what I'm saying, Chris?
Yes. I think we are due for an amended budget. We haven't had one this fiscal year yet.
Right, but what I'm saying is why was that not taken into consideration at the time of the budget process? Is what my question is.
I was not involved in the budget in the budget creation.
Mike, can you explain that? Or
no, that last budget process was one of the last back in August, I think, things that we had Nelda work on before she resigned, being that she had the knowledge and the background and know-how. So she created that. We presented it to the board. It was approved, and that's been what we've been working on. Normally, she says they do have several budget amendments as we go, but or she says sometimes it's best to wait till the end, getting towards the end of the fiscal year, and we create the budget amendments as needed. Was her last advice.
Mr. Garza.
Yes, sir.
I would like to see if we could amend our annual budget to reflect that total, because it doesn't look good when we're at 181% of our budget and we're only 4 months into the fiscal year.
Can I ask Michael, so when was that final budget that was done? What month was that?
I want to say that was August of last year.
Okay, and we'll confirm it. It's just for my context, but yes, Councilman, I see that.
You understand what I'm saying, right? It doesn't look good when it shows 181% over your annual budget. I mean, that raises a red flag to people that, hey, you didn't budget enough and you're spending all this money, not knowing not knowing the background that we're going to have to do an amendment and all that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Well, there's a few other places where we could do some house cleaning on the budget as well.
And
That wouldn't be the only one.
if I could ask Mr. Varela, and there would be no reason to go ahead and populate the entire allocated budget, even though it's going to cross over fiscal years, right?
There would be no reason to allocate the entire budget. Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah. So there would be nothing to restrict us from allocating the entire budget, even though it's going to cross fiscal years.
Not at all. It's a board decision.
Okay. Councilman Enriquez, I think the way I would prefer to see it is that whatever's allocated and approved by the board to a certain project, we go ahead and populate the entire allocated budget, even if it crosses fiscal years, just so that as you go from year to year, you still monitor the percentage of allocation.
Correct.
And we could do maybe a workshop on the budget and we discuss further on that.
Yeah, we can do some history in terms of verifying what was approved by the board in terms of a total budget. Go ahead and populate those numbers in and get an accurate percentage of where we're at to date of that budget.
Yeah, and also you can see that on the capital outlay, there's also a purchase of property, which was not budgeted either, for $139,000 in February.
Yeah, I see that.
Right. And that's something that can also be cleaned up during the amendment.
Yes. We'll need to also consider maybe the interest earned, and then also maybe even the sales tax, considering COVID-19. But we'll see how that goes in actuality throughout the next coming month. So any other questions on the statement of cash receipts and disbursements? So the next page is going to be about the balance sheet. And, total assets are $41 million. A large part of that's going to be our cash at $18,452,000, which a lot of that's going to be restricted. We have accounts receivable at $1.1 million, which I want to talk about on the next page, on the next report. And obviously we have the Santana note receivable at about $13 million. And then we have an allowance for uncollectible on that Santana of $300,000. And that was an adjustment by the last auditor. And then the next page is going to be our liabilities. I adjusted the current liabilities to reflect the principal that's going to be paid within the next 12 months. And also our long-term liability is going to be at $26 million. You'll see Ebony is finally less than $1 million, so that's good news. The next page is going to be the accounts receivable aging summary schedule. So we have a overview.
Chris,
of, yes.
Can I have some questions on the
Sure.
the balance sheet?
Sure.
Okay, so just so I can understand, all of the bank accounts that we have, when we sold the bond, did we specifically we opened up an account specifically for that bond?
Yes, the Techstar.
Okay, so if you would please, on the next presentation, where you have all these accounts, if you can say, like, for instance, the 1020 Techstar 2019 construction account, if you can also put there what bond that was, and the one above that as well, the ones that were bond monies, and those are the accounts that we deposited those funds in. Could you put in parentheses the bond number and the year, or the year that the bond was issued, just so we in the public can know, which bond accounts are there and how much is still available out of those bonds.
So right now we have Techstar 2019 construction account. So Techstar 2019 reflects the year that we received. So change construction account to reflect maybe the capital project, or what would you want to do there?
Yeah, just the bond, the way the bond was issued.
Okay, got it.
there's a name on the bond when it's
Got it,
issued.
on the bond report. I got
Right.
it. Okay, we'll do that.
And even for the other ones that are up there as well.
Sure. We'll do that. Okay.
Just so it'll be easier for us to know how much of those bond proceeds are still left.
Correct. We'll make that change. Let me make a note of that real quick. Okay, so on the next page is a snapshot of our accounts receivable aging schedule. And you'll see who owes us money on the leases and on the Santana. Now, obviously, Santana owes us a principal amount, and if Aaron remembers this, that we back, was it 2018, Aaron, that we refinanced the two notes, the $5 million note and the $10 million note? Well,
Yeah,
they haven't really paid us since then.
Right, you're talking about when they refinanced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we created those new amortization schedules.
Yes.
Yes, and they haven't paid us since then. So what you see here on Santana Textiles, Santana 10 and Santana 5, those represent the two different bonds or the two different notes. And if you look to the very far right, the total, $665,000 and $303,000, well, that's the interest accrued from the date that we refinance. Okay? And then the $89,000 is late fees, $4,337 each month that they're late.
So then, Chris, the 665 and the 303, all that is interest? Interest
Yes.
only?
Yeah. All that is interest.
Have they been paying off the principal?
Nothing.
Nothing.
So not only do they owe that $968,000 of interest, but they also owe the principal.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Damn. Well, I'm not supposed to say that.
Yeah, just keep in mind that, when you look at the balance sheet, going back to other assets, the 9.4 plus that comes out to about $13.6 million, and so that's a considerable amount of the total assets to factor into. So, and that's, of course, and we're taking account for the interest too, so we don't want to forget about that. So the auditor may come in here, and the audit we have going on now, they may want to adjust the uncollectible. Is that if you go back to the other assets, allowance for uncollectibles, $300,000, I wouldn't doubt if they kind of raise that number up.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to.
So it'll be an adjustment to our books. Okay. Any other questions about the financials?
Mr. Vidal, I think there are no more further questions or discussion amongst the board members. So we appreciate your time
Yes.
that you took out today to update us, and we look forward to the next report. Appreciate your work.
All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ron,
Yes, sir.
you might want to get with Aaron, and I don't know if you guys can schedule a workshop or something just to catch up Johnny, David, and Hiram on these things, on this debt stuff. That way they can know what's going on with Santana and all that stuff. Mike, you can catch them up also. Let them know what's going on with the liabilities, the Ebony Hills, the Parks and Rec, and and all the debt stuff, the debt service, the Santana, the Arena bond, all those 4 bonds, the Ebony Hills, Parks and Rec, Santana, and the Arena. let them know what's going on. And Aaron, you're gonna have to show them all the background on that. You're the one that's been here through all the different boards, and you know all this stuff. That way you can catch these guys up, because every meeting we get drilled by Miss Fern, and she's always about the arena and our tax money and this and that and this and that, and they don't know. Our 3 new members don't know that we've looked at these contracts over and over and over. We've had different firms look through them. We've had different accountants. There's no way out. We've already exhausted all our avenues, but these guys need to be caught up so they can understand all that. That way, when they get calls on it, they can have a response. You know what I mean? So just look into that. I know me and Gilbert already kind of know pretty much what's going on. And I know in order to have a meeting with 3 members, you're going to have to post it and stuff. But see what you guys can do just to catch up our 3 new board members, so they can have some answers for the public when they get nailed with stuff like that.
Okay.
As part of the previous director, Councilman, I think it may help if we do those adjustments to clean up the budget prior to us kind of posting and getting approval for an amendment. And then we can kind of put that all in the same context. But,
Okay.
So that we can give them and myself the history with the correct numbers.
Right. And I remember when we appointed these new members at that council meeting, that was one of the things I told them, because I actually think Fern referenced some questions about that during the public comments of that council meeting. And my thing was to catch these councilmen up on that stuff, because you're looking at $2 million of taxpayer money every year on that stuff.
Councilman, and also just so you know, we do send monthly invoices each month to Santana for the monthly interest accrual along with the total balance owed, and they do reply back. I was actually there about 2 weeks ago to see the facility and everything, and Aaron and I have been talking to on several people that have been called and inquiring about it, so we can catch them up on that as well.
Okay, great.